Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Files, where we bring you some news summary of last week. Starting off with Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco tie the knot in intimate California ceremony. Hollywood power couple Selena Gomez and music producer Benny Blanco are now officially married, having exchanged vows on September 27, 2025, in a dreamy outdoor ceremony in Santa Barbara, California. Gomez shared the news on Instagram with a photo of the two embracing and kissing on a lawn, captioned simply 92725, flanked by two white heart emojis. In the post's comments, Blanco responded with a heartfelt, "My wife in real life." Gomez and Blanco's relationship stretched back a decade in creative and collaborative contexts. Their romantic journey, however, became public in December 2023, when they confirmed they were dating. A year later, in December 2024, Blanco proposed. One notable milestone along the way: their 2019 collaboration, I Can't Get Enough, featuring J Balvin and Tainy, marked a creative intersection long before love was declared. In 2025, they deepened their personal and artistic partnership with the release of a joint album, I Said I Love You First. This makes their union also a merging of lives in music and emotion. Reaction and celebration poured in within hours of Gomez's Instagram post. The announcement racked up millions of likes and a flood of congratulatory comments from friends, celebrities, and fans alike. Their romantic and musical collaboration has long blurred the lines between art and intimacy, and now a formal commitment cements that bond. As Gomez and Blanco step into this new chapter, fans and media will closely watch what's next, both in their personal life and in their shared artistic ventures. Trump, Tylenol, and the politics of pain. In Trump's war on Tylenol is also very much a war on women. Arwa Mahdawi argues that Donald Trump's recent statements about acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, and pregnancy are not simply medical missteps. They reflect a deeper, gendered worldview about maternal suffering, bodily autonomy, and control. Trump warned that taking Tylenol is not good, suggesting a possible causal link between prenatal acetaminophen use and autism. He further insisted that pregnant women should fight like hell not to take Tylenol, implying they should endure pain rather than medicate. According to Mahdawi, Trump's remarks elevate tough it out as a moral virtue, even if doing so risks untreated fever or discomfort. Mahdawi frames this controversy not as an isolated medical blunder, but as part of a broader pattern in which women's health, pain, and medical decision-making are marginalized or politicized. Some of her central points: lack of medical basis. There is no consensus scientific evidence linking acetaminophen use during pregnancy to autism. Prominent medical experts and institutions warn against blanket conclusions and emphasize consultation with physicians. Women's pain. Too often dismissed, Mahdawi cites studies showing that women's pain is more frequently downplayed in medical contexts, leading to delays or poorer treatment for conditions like heart disease. She connects Trump's rhetoric to a historical pattern of gender bias in medicine and public discourse: power, control, and distraction. Mahdawi argues that sitting women's bodies as a political battleground serves multiple purposes. It shifts public attention, reinforces gendered norms, and exerts symbolic control over reproductive discourse. She contends that this is less about health and more about reinforcing the idea that women must be stoic, self-sacrificing, and publicly policed in their choices. Mahdawi's piece is compelling in how it connects a seemingly odd statement about Tylenol to larger fault lines in gender, medicine, and power. She argues that insisting pregnant people tough it out is not simply bad medical advice, it's part of a broader politics of control, blame, and silence. The article is effective as a cultural critique. Bringing in more medical voices and intersectional depth could strengthen its analytical balance. Trump-induced prosecution. The Comey indictment and the question of retaliation. In late September 2025, federal prosecutors indicted former FBI Director James Comey on charges of making false statements to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. The timing, context, and manner of this move have raised alarms about potential political retribution and the erosion of norms meant to insulate the Justice Department from partisan influence. According to the indictment, prosecutors allege that during a 2020 Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Comey denied authorizing anyone else at the FBI to act anonymously in media leaks, even though the government claims Person 3 was authorized to do exactly that. Additionally, he is charged with obstructing Congress in connection with that same testimony. A third proposed charge was declined by the grand jury, a fact that critics contend underscores the weak footing of the case. Comey has publicly denied all charges and asserted his faith in the justice system. In a video statement, he said, "My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system. So, let's have a trial and keep the faith." Why many see this as retribution. 1. Trump's public pressure and timeline. This isn't happening in a vacuum. For years, Donald Trump has openly called for prosecutions of his political opponents, including Comey. In the days prior to the indictment, Trump publicly criticized the Justice Department and urged officials to bring charges against Comey. Observers note that the indictment was filed just before the statute of limitations deadline, heightening suspicion that the timing was politically driven. Claims of selective or vindictive prosecution. Legal watchers suggest that Comey may have a viable motion to dismiss on grounds of vindictive prosecution, arguing that he was singled out because of his prior public opposition to Trump. However, defending against such jurisdictional arguments is difficult, and success is not assured. Institutional stakes, precedent, norms, and trust. This case matters far beyond Comey's personal fate. Its implications stretch into separation of powers and norms. The Justice Department has historically operated under norms that keep it insulated from presidential or partisan interference. The Comey indictment sharply tests whether those norms are still held. Challenges ahead and what to watch are: legal thresholds. To survive pretrial motions, prosecutors must demonstrate probable cause and guard against constitutional challenges like vindictive or selective prosecution. Defense strategy. Comey's team will likely emphasize the timing, past conflicts with Trump, and flaws in the evidence. Public response and congressional oversight. Lawmakers, legal scholars, and civil society may push back, especially if this becomes a broader campaign against Trump's critics. Whatever the ultimate outcome of this case, acquittal, dismissal, or conviction, the precedent it sets will resonate well beyond the courtroom. It will test the health of US democracy, the separation of powers, and the public's confidence in a system meant to be blind, not partisan. To another news, the viral cross, symbolism and memory at Charlie Kirk's memorial. A powerful photograph from former Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's memorial has been rapidly circulating online. The image shows a mourner carrying a large wooden cross, an explicit Christian symbol, among the crowd gathered to honor Kirk's memory. The photograph isn't just visually arresting. In the wake of a high-profile memorial, it has become a kind of symbol itself, stirring reflection about how politics, religion, and personal identity interweave when someone's life and death takes on public dimension. Layers of meaning behind the cross. 1. Religious identification. The cross is among the most recognizable symbols in the Christian faith, invoking themes of sacrifice, redemption, suffering, and salvation. Displaying it at a memorial implicitly frames the gathering in religious terms, suggesting that Kirk's legacy is not only political or personal, but spiritual. 2. Public mourning as political theatre. When figures from political movements are memorialized, their funerals or memorials often take on a performative quality. The use of religious imagery, like a large cross, sharpens the boundary between public admiration and spiritual identification. The image, intentionally or not, harmonizes Kirk's memory with Christian symbolism, making it a site of contest over his legacy. 3. viral circulation, and symbolic amplification. That this image is going viral isn't an accident. Iconic visuals that carry strong symbolic freight tend to propagate widely in the digital age. A single striking image can evoke debates about meaning, intention, faith, and memory faster than 1,000 words. Some reflections and critical questions are: who owns the memory? Family, movement followers. Critics compete to shape what someone's memory signifies. Religiosity and polarization. In a time of deep political and cultural divisions, the overlapping of religious iconography with political presence can further entrench identities. The image might reassure supporters, but alienate others. Intent versus interpretation. Whether the person carrying the cross intended to make a political statement or was responding to personal grief becomes almost secondary once the image is out in public. Interpretation becomes collective and contested. Thank you for watching, but for now, it's goodbye.